Okay, this January has been extremely cold. Been waiting for a warm day to get back on the punt, but there's no end in sight to this cold weather, so I'm going to go camping in the tent, the punt. I'm going to put it inside of our tent and see how warm it is. Okay, here's my equipment. It's relatively simple. I have a sleeping bag that's good to negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. It's down, it's extremely thick. I have an uninsulated air mattress, but the punt is insulated, so I don't really need insulation in my air mattress. I have a tent. I'm not going to use the tent. I'm going to use the ground cover and the rain fly. And then I just have a little stove that uses this kind of fuel. I have some coffee, some dinner. So I'm going to take this whole bin. You can do that when you have a rolling cart behind you. Okay, here is the punt loaded up. So basically, this is my kitchen, food, and then I have my sleeping bag, my tent, air mattress, a little stool, and some firewood. That's a convenient thing you can do with a cart like this, is you can bring your own firewood. Last thing I'm bringing is my pillow because I'm a side sleeper. You can go about 5 inches high, higher than the sides, and everything will still fit. Well, I kind of missed the sunset. Unfortunately, I forgot my stove at home, so I had to go and run and get it. All right, the current temperature just dropped below freezing. Okay, I'm arriving at the trailhead, and I'm just checking out the condition of the trail to see if my bike will be able to ride on it. And I could easily just pull the punt behind me like a sled dog. Okay, it's kind of iffy. I'm not really sure. Okay, it is working. It's just going really slow. There's a lot of drag with the snow. I have never seen ice like this on this Potomac River. This hasn't happened since Reagan was president. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful out here. Okay, well the drag on the tires was too high. Here's the path. The campground is another mile up. 1.2 miles. There's no way I can make it. So this is just a little clearing by the river, and I'm just going to sleep here. Here's my thermometer. I can set it for either inside or outside. It's 31.8 Fahrenheit, which is just below freezing. That's the Potomac River. I can't believe how much ice there is. It's crazy. Okay, dinner is ready. Okay, I just finished dinner. I'm just having a couple dark chocolate covered almonds for dessert, not too many. I don't want too much sugar before I go to bed. Okay, here's my setup. I got my negative 17 degree sleeping bag inside the punt. I just put a moving blanket on top. I have about 3 feet of headroom inside, and now I'm just gonna use the rain fly from this 4-person tent and put it over the whole thing. Okay, there it is. It looks a little bit like a tent now. The last thing I have to do is basically go on a brisk walk to generate some heat in my body before I jump in the sleeping bag. Woo! Yeah! Okay. I'm hot now. Here we go. Not too bad. We got the thermometer is currently 27. I got my water bottle. Take my shoes off. It's very warm in here. I'm gonna figure out in a couple minutes the differentiation between the inside temperature and the outside temperature. Now it's below 24 degrees outside, which is about 6 degrees below freezing. Inside here, it's about 30 degrees. I'm not cold at all. My uncle was a mountain climber, and he climbed some really tall 18,000 foot peaks, or maybe even taller, in Peru. And he also climbed Mount McKinley, or Mount Denali, whichever you want to call it. He slept in an ice cave once, and I always wanted to do that. So this is my ice cave, basically. At least I know the roof is not going to collapse on top of me and suffocate me. Not cold at all. I have a proper sleeping bag. I have a hat, and yeah, it's quite chilly out there. And we'll see what it looks like in the morning when the sun comes up. I got the water bottle right here next to my body so it doesn't freeze. My glasses. This is my thermometer. Let's see what it says here. Ooh, 23 degrees. That's outside. Okay, 28. So that's a 5-degree difference. Still kind of cold. Yeah, here's my mattress. My blanket and my hard shell, my tent. I like how I can sit up in here. To go to the bathroom, I just kept my knees in, but I got on all fours and I just went over here. This is pretty good. It's just like a tent, basically, except it has a lot more insulation. All right, here's my light. It's hanging off of the bracket that is used for the tow bar, which is very nice. I have this extra bungee cord here, but I don't really need it. So yeah, I'm sitting on a floor that is 3.5 inches thick. It's half filled with expanded polystyrene, and the other is just air pockets. It's 32 degrees in here. Oh, wow, 32.9. Woo! And it's, I just checked, it's like 25 degrees outside. So it's keeping my water bottle from freezing. It's right next to my body, right next to the sleeping bag. Okay, I don't know if you could hear that, but I just heard a bunch of coyotes howling. It's not quite midnight yet. The other thing I've heard a lot of is owls. Quite a lot of owls out. And I heard a couple dogs, and earlier there were some Canadian geese. Yeah, so there's a 7-degree temperature difference between outside and inside. I don't know how that compares with a tent, but I'm cozy in here. So I kept thinking about, what if this thing was closed down all the way? A lot of people have thought about that. I'm claustrophobic, so I would not want that unless I had at least a couple feet of space over my head. You could make this thing bigger. If you're not making it a boat as well, you can make it taller. There's a lot of options. People have already done that, though. There's a guy named Paul Oh, I forgot his last name. He's kind of famous for that. Bike campers. So I think the unique thing about this is it's also a boat. I could always put skis on this thing, and then it would be basically a sled. That would be pretty interesting. Okay, I survived the night. It's 25.7 degrees outside. That's pretty cold. I did not shiver at all. I slept really well. Because I got this really good sleeping bag. Temperature inside 37. So it's not freezing in here. Look, I still got liquid water. It's a pretty big difference. Alright. Potomac River. Making some coffee. I really like having a flat tabletop. That's the cool thing about having a punt with a flat bottom. The Shuttle Punt 2 has shallow V from here to there, but from here to there it's still flat, so you can. Okay, so last night I heard a lot of owls, at least 4 of them, and some coyotes, some dogs. I heard some deer walking around. There's a woodpecker. So why am I out here in the snow? I needed to get some exercise, and this was definitely a lot of exercise. Rolling these wheels in the snow was a lot of exercise. It's only a couple miles, actually no, less than a couple miles to my car, but it required the same amount of energy as biking about 10 miles because of the friction on the wheels. Yeah, so here's the trail. It's got these 2 narrow tire tracks from some vehicle that drove by. And if I put my bike in here, then the punt wheels go here or here. And this has not been trotted down. I'm surprised that there weren't any fat wheeled bikers on this trail. There's a lot of bikers in this area, but they just haven't been out. It would have been easier. It would have smash the snow down, and would have been less friction. It's nice to have a table. I brought all this firewood. I think I'm just gonna leave it here because there's no fire pit. I don't want to start a fire in the snow without some kind of clearing, and I don't have a shovel. And here's my breakfast. All right, so while we're having a discussion out here in the snow, I wanted to give you an update on the wedge rower project that I started last summer. I never finished it because, well, number one, I ran out of time, and number two, I learned some more information. I get all these scientific papers in my email every day. Every single day I get at least another one paper, and some of them are relevant to what I'm doing and some aren't. But anyway, I have learned that a stepped hull does not become more efficient than an unstepped motorboat hull until a certain speed, and that speed is Freud number 3. It has to be over 3. So for the case of a small boat, that would be 15 miles an hour. So what I have calculated is the wedge rower would not actually be able to hydroplane unless I had 2 people and maybe 3. That would be the minimum amount of people required to hydroplane. I believe the world record for hydrofoiling man-powered boat is 2-person, I believe. Anyway, when you add a person, you don't double the power because you're also adding weight. You only get a 26% increase in speed, according to all these people that study that stuff. Anytime you add weight, you're slowing the boat down. So even though all the weight is a rower, which is power, you only get 26% more. So the wedge rower could possibly work with 2 people, but maybe 3. And I didn't have time to build something that big that would hold 3 people or 2 people. So I just put that project on hold for now. I'm going back to boats, sailboats, and sail rigs. And that's what I do on my spare time when I'm not building furniture or freezing. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is the drag hump. The hump is the increase in initial drag for a hydroplaning surface is slightly higher than the initial drag for a hydrofoil. So that's why, that's another reason it would be hard to make a rowboat that was human powered that could get over the hump speed. Now, in the case of the wing moran, I don't have to worry about that because the initial weight is held by the long and skinny, or the long and relatively flat main hull. So the skimmer doesn't have to do any work at all until the boat is traveling at such a speed that the hydroplaning surface becomes efficient, which is around 5, 6, 7 knots. And that's why that works. So I have just designed a proa version. A proa is basically where I cut off one of the wings, and the wing that I have, I make it slightly longer, and I turn it into a 2-way proa that shunts, and the sail rig has to be somewhere in the middle, and it has to flip. And but anyway, that design has the exact same riding moment. It has about the same weight, maybe slightly less weight. And I'm going to put a bigger sail on it. I'm going to put an 80 square foot sail. I'm going to make one this winter. I already made a 51 square foot sail, and that worked really well. But I need more power. And that boat, made out of a canoe, a Grumman canoe. I found one for $100. We'll see how that works. I mean, I predicted it could go 18 knots, which is kind of scary for a canoe because it's not a self-bailing boat. So we'll see. All right, there's my fire solution. I just made a log cabin on top of this cylindrical windshield. It's working pretty well. It'll keep me warm for a while. Okay, I'm packed up and ready to go. Okay, so in conclusion, skinny wheels don't work very well in the snow. I'm a little bit crazy. The punt was warm, especially if you have a tent shell wrapped over the top of it and a good sleeping bag. There is a guy that dragged a sled all the way halfway across Antarctica. The guy was nuts, so I'm not totally crazy.